This year for a mission trip, we went to Warrensburg, New York, in the Adirondack Mountains.
Warrensburg, New York is much different than Franklin, Indiana, and I think it's good for youth to step outside their comfort zone and to look at different parts of the world. For one, it makes them feel fortunate for the things that they do have.
The overall theme of this week was to demo like Jesus, so just to live your day like you believe Jesus would.
That whole week we were reaching out to the community and helping them and putting others' needs before our own.
Every day in the church, each group had a chore, so like breakfast prep, so you got breakfast ready, or dinner prep, breakfast or dinner cleanup, or even building cleanup where you have to go around and like clean the bathrooms and take out the trash, and it's really nasty, and yeah.
At Jesus is Lord camp, I moved a lot of compost into fields for like a harvest, and also cleaned out a gazebo where he was giving his ministries at for kids with troubled youth, and that was really cool. Dusted a lot. It was a lot of work.
I was the leader in the work group Crane, and we worked at a cemetery painting sheds. We also worked at Jesus is Lord camp, which is an organic crop farm, and they grow food for the homeless shelters. We worked at a Gore Mountain ski resort, and we went to a nursing home and visited with the elderly.
I really liked the location that we got to go to because the Adirondack Mountains are really beautiful, but also the people up there are just really friendly, and I like to interact with all the different people from up there. And I would say probably my favorite was there was one day where our work group got to go work for a man named Irv, who has spent the past 40-some years of his life working with struggling youth who have bad relationships with their parents, or they're struggling in school, or even more serious issues. And before that, he worked on things to do with civil rights, and it's just to hear him tell his stories, because he's had such an interesting life, and to hear him talk about the experiences he's had and what he's gained from it really had an impact on me.
In the evening club, what we would do is we would stand and worship and sing praise songs, and we'd also learn about a particular Bible verse that night while still going back to the initial theme of the week. And we did Yay Gods, which is thanking God for good things that we've seen that day, and that's pretty neat, where someone would point out another individual or another group for doing something good that day that we could all appreciate.
My shirt security is a one-word shirt, and one-word shirts are from an organization in Minneapolis. It's an after-school program called Youth Enterprise. It takes at-risk youth and gives them after-school jobs. And each one of these shirts is one word on the front with a Bible verse on the back. They're individually screen printed by those youth, and they sell them on YouthWorks mission trips. You can also go to www.ye and get your own one-word shirt.
One of the nights we actually went to this caving place, and there was actually hiking trails that we could go to. There was also a Frisbee golf course there, which is pretty cool. We had a lot of fun doing that. One of the most memorable things that I would say that I remember from this trip is just seeing the beauty that God put into the natural habitats that we live in. There was an awesome cave that we went to, and on one side there was actually a waterfall looking deal, and it was coming out of the side of the rock, and they had lights all lit up in there, and you could go down in there and check it out, and it was just beautiful to be able to see such an amazing thing like that.
So last night that we were there, we had a ceremonial foot washing. The YouthWorks people talked about the Last Supper and how Jesus washed the disciples' feet, and then they came out and they actually washed the feet of the adults, and then they prayed with us. It was really amazing, and then I was able to wash the feet of 5 of the youth. And that was probably one of the coolest things I've ever done. It was just so impacting, so real. I mean, just the foundation that we've been able to put into these kids and ourselves through this has just been an amazing adventure. Loved it.
So in a lot of the small town youth work sites, Thursday night they do a community cookout where they set up sometimes at a park, or this year it was in the church parking lot. And anyone in the community is welcome to come out for free food, grill hamburgers and hot dogs and all that good stuff. And everyone just comes out, everyone is welcome.
On the last day of the trip, we left Warrensburg about 9 o'clock in the morning, and we drove about 2 hours north to the Arnold Family Farm, which is near Franklin Falls, New York. It's where my mother grew up with her 11 brothers and sisters and her parents. Her uncle actually built the farmhouse that's still standing. And so we all stayed there overnight. We went into Lake Placid we had breakfast at Lake Placid, and then we went back to Lake Placid in the evening for dinner and to shop. And Lake Placid has hosted 2 Winter Olympics, the most recent in 1980. And it's a fun town, has lots of shopping and restaurants and things like that. And went back to the farm in the evening, and the sky was very clear, and I believe we could see every star in the Milky Way. It was so beautiful and so peaceful.
This year we did something different. The seniors gave their testimony at the mission trip. Usually they wait and give it afterwards. And I think just to break that tradition kind of brought us closer together.
Well, the senior testimonies were very emotional. I mean, if you ask anyone in the group, it was probably me crying the most.
On Wednesday morning, I woke up and I heard like a beeping sound, and I smelled something burning, and I thought, oh, they're probably cooking breakfast, and the smoke detectors probably went off, because the day before when my group had made breakfast, that happened to us when we were cooking sausage. But then I checked the time. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. So I ran and I woke up Dee and told her that, you know, the alarms were going off and that I smelled something burning. And so she alerted the staff, and we got the whole church evacuated, and we were standing out in the parking lot for an hour before we could go back to sleep. It was just a pot of eggs that were left on the stove overnight that were left unattended, and so burned through the pot. Luckily there was no actual fire. Everything was okay. It's just the church had a faint scent of burned eggs for the rest of the week.
For like transportation wise, we were supposed to get like a van that would fit, 12 people, and it's kind of tight. You usually have to fit like almost 3 to 4 to a seat, and really small, compact van. You could hit your head on the ceiling if you stood up too fast. But then when I got to Dee's, that night we were leaving, I see like this big Mercedes Sprinter van, and during the mission trip we fit 37 people in the very back where we put all of our stuff, so that was really cool.
I've been on 3 mission trips now, and I would say every one was special in its own way. But one thing that I realized is that in every one, it's amazing how God can just bring a great group of friends to a church out in the middle of nowhere just to serve for a community. And I really think that's awesome that He can put people in our lives that actually help us grow closer to Him.
Well, the mission trip is just a week where I get to spend time with the youth group from this church, which has become a family to me, and I feel like we all just have a really great time on the mission trip. And the people you get to meet and the places you get to see, and everyone there is so grateful, and everyone's there just to do good and have fun, and they've always been just a great time.
My favorite part of the mission trip this year and every year is just building the relationships within our youth group, coming closer together and coming closer in Christ.
I'm really looking forward to going on the mission trip next year, and I encourage all the upcoming 8th graders to take part in it.
This mission trip was going to be my last one with the church, and knowing that, I went into it with the best mind possible, obviously trying to make the best out of every opportunity that was given to me on the trip, and make the best out of every situation that I was given. No matter what anybody else thought of the situation, I was going to make that situation the best, and then try to make it a good experience for the other kids in the youth group as well, so they will come back on the mission trips and it's becomes a continuing process.
I went on the mission trip so that I could get closer to the people in club and kind of see like what the whole mission trip was about.
The people that are in my youth group are not just some kids that I grew up with and went and hung out with every Wednesday. They're like a family to me. So to be able to share experiences like that with people that are so close to me and that have the same faith as me is just awesome.
I feel like I grew closer to God. I feel like I need to serve Him a lot more, and I need to do as He would do to others. The 4 mission trips that I went on through YouthWorks were all really impacting to me in my life, and because of that, I actually next year during the summer, I want to apply to be a YouthWorks staff member, and I will just like plan to go to some random location in the U.S. and be a staff member. And I want to try to once again just make the kids' experiences there worth their time.
I think the YouthWorks trips specifically are a huge message to teenagers. They're messages that are geared specifically to their age level, and I just think it's a wonderful opportunity to serve Jesus Christ.
I think it's a good idea for kids from middle school to come up into a youth group like ours because you create new friendships. I feel like these people in this group will always be with me throughout my life, and I feel like that's a great feeling to know that you'll always have someone. So that's why I really encourage it.
This mission trip, I learned what it was like to be a part of a youth group, and I made new connections with all the people in club.
I think it's an important thing for people to partake in because it gets you out of your comfort zone that a lot of kids, teenagers tend to get into, and it just puts you in an environment where you put yourself under other people, you put others above you, and it gives you an opportunity to look at things differently, and it really starts to give you a mind toward just general service, which is a really nice thing to have, and I think it's important for other people to kind of get the similar experience that I've had through those mission trips.
Well, definitely the most memorable part of the mission trip would be the time spent with our church group. I think a lot of people think going on a mission trip is probably next to, well, you know, bottom of the totem pole, not that fun. But as a youth leader, I've always been so proud of the youth from our church, the way that they lead, the way that they interact with one another, and I always feel like our church group time is a great time for us to reconnect as a group.
I just want to thank the members of the church for allowing me to go on these mission trips with these awesome people that are my friends, and thank you for the donations and getting us to go there. I appreciate it.
I know that this is these mission trips are a big deal for not only the kids, our church, but the people that we serve when we go there, and I'd just really like to say thank you from the bottom of my heart from the church, all of our church families, the people who support these trips. It means a lot to the kids, and it means a lot to us, and I hope to do it again.